Sound. So I went to the cinema to see movie 43 in Glasgow. And it was like a couples thing. It was me and my mate, both of our partners at the time. And it was, you know that I'm quite confrontational naturally as a person, but I got put in my place.
You're an arsehole.
I'm an arsehole, right? But do you ever get in the situations when you're like, who the fuck does that? Like when there's people that are just fucking being outrageous. It was like a scene Bill was Sunny. There was these two guys behind me, just commentating all the way through the film and just shouting, taking phone calls, like screaming and shouting that stuff at the film. Two big Eastern European guys. So I turned around and I was like, can you please just like calm it down a wee bit, like, or just let us watch the film? And the guy leans right forward. So imagine the scene, like I'm looking up behind me towards the guy, and he just loomed right over me, got as close to me as he could, and went, no. I was like, sound, like I just absolutely bawled it, got back in my seat, because that is not a type of guy you want to fucking fight with. Like a guy that does not give a fuck. Aye, that was a bad cinema experience.
Well, it would have made it worse for the choice of movie that you watched as well.
And did they just continue doing what they were doing?
Aye. They just went back to doing what they were doing, and eventually, after about an hour, some staff came and chucked them out.
You were less intimidating than the Cineworld staff that night.
Oh, the thing is, like, the rest of the time they were still sitting behind me, so it was another like half an hour. I just constantly felt like this guy's going to punch me in the back of the head, and there was nothing I could do about it.
Oh, bless you, Daniel. And yeah, you're a confrontational guy, and the rest of us here are certainly not.
No, I'm a placid man. I'm a pacifist these days.
Fair play, guys. Well, I actually forgot completely how we kick off the start of these, because how many weeks has it been since we've recorded one of these?
So we normally talk about films, Kyle. We watch films and then we talk about them.
Well, I normally didn't watch them, and I just latch onto things that you guys have said and pretend I've watched them.
Well,
we all know that.
No, but you usually say you've watched them and you've done 4 things at the same time. So
I'm a multitasker.
Cleaning, cooking, watching football, playing Football Manager, working.
And genuinely, today, watching one of the movies, I prepped all the dinner. I had Football Manager going. I was working. I had the PlayStation set up just at the side of the big screen for watching the telly as well. My brain can't just do one thing at a time. That's because I'm a complete weirdo. Daniel tries to diagnose me all the time. But, well, I was just
you've got ADHD like me.
Yeah, there's definitely something there. But welcome into Morons Review Movies. We are back. It has been a few weeks since we have recorded. I always think that when I do these intros, maybe we should like do the intro first and then like play the little jingle and stuff that we've got, and then start actually reviewing the movies, because it seems like a big fuck up.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
Ah! You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Thanks for that notification on the screen, Birdsey. We will put our hands up to make sure that we're all speaking at the relevant times.
I was just reading that. Why did you not just say that?
What the fuck was that noise that just came through as well?
That was I didn't want to interrupt him.
Why did you just raise your hand? I know. Anybody be like, oh, aye.
That's it. Just type a message to remind us to raise a hand so that you can speak.
Just didn't nod like what I did.
Oh, well, listen, we are here to talk about movies, but we do have a new structure of what we are doing. And just to throw him on the spot and make him explain it, I'm going to pass over to Daniel, who's going to explain the new structure for this season.
Thanks for that. So what we're going to do now is, instead of 2 episodes, 2 movies per episode, we're going to do 1 movie per episode. Spend more time talking about it. Maybe it's more time talking shit, but ultimately have the episodes under an hour, because an hour and a half of us talking shit's maybe too much. And we're going to do a new theme for every season. We're going to do 10 movies. We spun a wheel for the letter. and we're going to do all movies beginning with the letter B. So we've got 10 B movies coming up. If you'd like to tell the guys what the movies are, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be talking this week, first of all, about Blood Diamond, selected by Sean, I believe. Next week, we're into The Business, also a Sean selection. And the rest of them for the weeks coming after that are Bad Teacher, Black Swan, Blade, Borg versus McEnroe, Big Short, Big Lebowski, Butterfly Effect, and Batman Begins. But we're going to start off with Sean to kick us off. Blood Diamond was his choice. Take it away, mate.
I can't remember why I chose Blood Diamond. Because when it was selected, somebody said, "Oh, that's Sean's pick," so it didn't register.
Means a lot to you in this one.
I actually thought I'd seen this before, but I don't think I'd seen it the whole way through because I can remember like the first half hour, and then I've got zero recollection of what happens after that. But as I've said before, obviously I absolutely love watching DiCaprio. I thought again he was brilliant, but I thought the star of the show was Mr. Vandy. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Just I don't even know the actual guy's name in real life, which is terrible. But I thought he was tremendous. I did feel it was a bit slow at times. I don't think it really needed to be just about 2.5 hours long. As you know, I'm not a lover of long films. I kind of zone out a wee bit. And there was a lot of like kind of fight scenes, gun scenes, explosion scenes. Felt kind of samey at certain bits, kind of in the middle of the film. But obviously, the main thing was obviously going to get the diamond, and then obviously the wee side story with his son. I was more interested in how his son was going to react when he sees him, and if he was going to get his son back and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't really give a fuck about the diamond, to be honest with you. That was just really kind of an afterthought for me. But I kind of found it quite enjoyable, but it did kind of drag out a wee bit. I don't know how you feel, if any of you will kind of say the same thing. I think maybe Bundy will agree with me. We normally agree on stuff like that. We've got the attention span of a goldfish sometimes. But
no, I'd definitely jump in and say that the movie was quite long. It is one of those films. It's a really enjoyable watch, and you're absolutely spot on. Solomon Vandy's arc in it is by far the best part. I would have rather spent more time on him and his journey. I'm with you on the diamond. I couldn't really care less what size it was, how much it was worth, and what happened to it after the fact.
I mean, you're talking about pointless parts of the story, Sean, which I agreed with. The one bit you didn't touch on, which I'm interested in what people think, is see the whole love story with him and the journalist.
I was just going to mention that, like, that's something that didn't really need to be there, but I just think that they need to fling in stupid wee. It's not a love triangle. It's just between two people, but like we interest. There was no need for it at all. I know, like in the end, like she kind of bust the whole illegal diamond thing and all that, but taking the pictures of the exchange and all that kind of stuff. But like, I would have been quite happy if it just ended that like he got his son back and he got his family back, and then there was peace in Sierra Leone. I don't think that Danny needed. Well, I'm assuming he died, but I've never been shot before. But surely he could have made it to the plane. Like he was almost there. Like if he stopped fanning about, like just go. You're almost there. Like why would you just like? And he was a selfish person the whole way through the film, and then at the end he just gives his life to save Van Denny's son and gives them back the diamond. It didn't really fit in with his character through the whole film, and it just seemed to be a turn right at the very last second. It wasn't even like you could gradually see his kind of character changing, because it was only like 20 minutes before that that he basically had Vandy by the neck saying, "You're not going down there. I'm going to call on an airstrike. Your son's not there." Whereas there's no way that he could have guaranteed that his son wasn't. It turns out his son was there anyway. Bit weird.
And you mentioned earlier, Sean, that like you said how you couldn't remember if you watched this and that. But like if I'd watched the first half hour of this film, I wouldn't want to go back and watch it again. Because the first like 45 minutes, I was watching it. Well, it felt like 45 minutes. It was an hour and a half into the film, or over an hour into the film. It was just far too slow. Like nothing. They just set it up and have like loads of shooting in that, but then get into the grips of the story until at least an hour into the film, or an hour and a half, maybe even. It just like when I was watching, I was thinking that when you did pick it, I was actually inclined to veto it. I don't know if we're going to mention this in our podcast and say that how weird. Well, I'm going to mention it now that
let's not go down that rabbit hole. We'll be here for about 20 minutes talking about vetoes.
Well, basically, I could have turned down your option in this film, which I was tempted to do, but and based on the first hour or so, I wish I did do it. But you got, and I also say, Sean, or do you want to pass it?
I was just going to say just one more thing. Like there was a few things. This might be like my attention span getting the better of me, but like obviously, so after he's been caught initially by the main bad guy who got his eyes ripped out or whatever, and then ended up in the same jail and he's stripped down to say, I've got nothing, blah, blah, blah. So obviously, Danny's got Vandy out of jail to go and get the diamond, right? How the fuck did that bad guy get out of the jail?
The rebel forces would have came. The rebel forces would have came and took over the town and let him out.
Just to assume that.
I think so. Right?
But like that was not made clear at all. One scene, he's lying on a fucking what looks like a catering fucking trolley in the middle of a prison, screaming to a naked Solomon Vandy about a diamond that he may or may not have buried. Then the next minute, he's fucking got all these children, and he's getting his son to shoot up some guy. Like, he just appeared like as if like, these boys are RUF or whatever it was. Obviously, there's a fucking civil war. Mum, we'll just let you go. It was just really weird. That's probably what was supposed to happen, but they just, for some reason, just never really explained it, Daniel. I was just wondering if I'd missed something. Bit weird. Very quiet.
There was a bit of that story missing. It would have maybe been nice to have seen that whole, don't know, maybe a proper uprising of the opposition in Sierra Leone. But kind of what you touched on with the love story, what I was raising my hand to speak was there's a possible layer, a conspirator layer to the love story and about Danny's character that I will reveal in the trivia. So I'll just leave it there for the time being. I'll leave you pondering about what it may or may not be, but no more mention of the love story, please.
A wee cliffhanger in there for us.
That's enticing.
As much as Solomon Vandy was definitely staff for me, this is one of the films that I think Leonardo DiCaprio was best in. I think he's excellent in this.
He's very good,
Mm-hmm.
His accent's deplorable though. That grated on me throughout the full film.
No, but whether you liked it or not, like I thought it sounded pretty accurate for. It was Zimbabwe.
I think with the point, I think the problem with me though, it's not. It might not even be him. I think it's the fact if it wasn't somebody that was that recognisable to me, say it was somebody that was the first or second film I watched, I wouldn't have a problem. I think it was anyone that we've watched that many films of, I'm just going to be like, nah, can't handle it. So it's a problem with me probably more than anything. I don't think it's more from the or not. I just couldn't. It just annoyed me.
All right. So it was just the accent. So it was just the accent, like itself, just the actual like Zimbabwean kind of South African accent, huh?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
All right.
If you actually listen to what I said, then what I said was, as if it was someone that either it was the first time we watched them in a film, or the second or third time, then it wouldn't have bothered me. But because we've seen that many films, I know his accent, his normal accent, and that's why it annoyed me. Whereas if it was somebody who was, if the accent itself wasn't the problem, it was the fact it was him doing the accent.
I think we've just established that you just hate Zimbabweans.
I would just like to take this opportunity to apologise to our Zimbabwean listeners. Craig's a bit cranky.
I wonder if we
not
did
a fan of Peter Undlove back in the day.
Was Bruce Grobbelaar or not with Zimbabwe?
He was, aye. Should have had him doing it.
That would have been great.
Did his wee knees at the didn't the penalty shoot.
Oh God. Bruce Grobbelaar plays Danny Archer as Helen Solomon Van Dijk. Imagine the description for this film.
No, I meant it's DiCaprio. Get DiCaprio and get Bruce Grobbelaar in his place.
Well, so far, I've taken a note for the podcast name is that Burnsy hates Zimbabweans.
Oh,
Just got some Rhodesian rage. That's all it is.
I don't think we should use that as a podcast name. That will have us in the papers.
It's actually your fault, Sean.
Well, you're the one that was
clearly
so
Burns.
against the accent.
aye.
Oh, listen, I said him doing the accent.
Oh, you need to make that more clear next time.
I did make it clear, you just never listened.
Let's swing this back to talking about the movies quite quickly, then, guys. What I always like about these types of movies, and like's probably the absolute wrong word to use in this scenario, is understanding what happens. So, like, see the whole concept of people driving in the back of cars just to take children, rip apart a village, is wild to me. So when you watch it, I find it dead fascinating to watch, because the idea that they just come in and then to stop people from voting, they just chop their arms off.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. But see, on that note, do you not feel that this film, by the end, I was almost desensitized to it? I don't think the film just sort of almost made light of it. Like, Sean's made a good point. This is trying to shove loads of different types of movie into one movie. And I think if they focused a bit more on the Sierra Leone conflict and this boy getting his son back with a bit of the diamond in the background, it would have been fine. But see all the journalists and the ins and the outs and the colonel and Danny going back and forth and caring about his background, being a mercenary and all this sort of shit. Oh, it was too much jumbled all into it. And by the time I saw the third guy with no arms, it didn't have the same impact anymore. Burnsy.
That's exactly what I think. It's like when I'm going back to like the first, it was as if to me there was like two different writers for this film. Like the first half was somebody who just didn't get my interest at all. There was far too much going on. And it wasn't until Archer and Van Dijk actually meet up and like escape that it sort of centralizes on them getting the diamond and all that kind of stuff. And it makes a bit more sense because it's, instead of just going all over the shop, like you say, there was far too much going on for the first hour and a half. That's why I think it was like poorly written. It was just really weird, I thought. And then I think opposite you though, towards it, I was more invested towards the end of the first so much that I was just like, this is absolutely awful. But then it obviously picks up when you get into the nitty gritty of it, I think.
I mean, I think I don't think it really picked up or declined. My recollection of this is liking it a lot, but I watched it. I don't know, when did this come out, Kyle? About 2008 or something like that. I'll let you look up.
2006.
2006. Sorry, a long time ago I watched this, and I think I was really captivated by DiCaprio's performance in it, and I thought he was great, and I still think he is really good in it. He plays the character, and he makes it feel like a real guy, and you can tell this is when he's going through his phase of really trying to get an Oscar. So he's really putting everything into every performance. But the script is fucking awful. Like, I feel like some of the lines he had to deliver and the amount of times it just goes off on like pointless tangents. Like, you go and you find the guy who had like the orphanage for all the kids with the arms, with one arm and all that.
Yeah.
And you meet him, and then he takes him on a drive. And this guy's obviously been doing this for years and years and years. He's got all these kids. He's looked after them for all this time. He's got relationships with the jungle people that are different for the two different forces, the ones that are just their own independent militia. But somehow he's too naive that when he gets to the first roadblock, he gets shot. Like, it was a pointless, stupid character just to be added in for 5 minutes and then be killed off. There were so many bits of this that added nothing to it. So I ended up being bitterly disappointed watching it back. What did you think, Hunter?
Again, kind of similar to what everyone said so far. DiCaprio's great. Solomon Van Dijk's great. I think for me, my favourite scene in this film was the bit where Van Dijk, when they're in the, I don't know what you call it, like the village, his former village where the diamond's buried, and he gets his one the South African army come in to help. Obviously, Archer's pulled in the favour to try and kind of get his out with the diamond, so they've been doing their strikes. But then in amongst this, Vandy gets his one-on-one with this leader of the RUF who's took and brainwashed his son. And just that, you see that raw emotion and rage where he just kills him in that wee pit, whatever they fall into. I thought that was possibly the best acted scene, definitely from him throughout the whole film. Again, you're totally drawn in, and obviously wanting him to win at that point. Again, as everyone said so far, DiCaprio was great. There is a bits of the story again with the air quote here love interest. I did think, oh my god, you're at a point just to kind of like, what is this going to even add to this? It's like there's so much else going on that it's the last thing he needed was just a side distraction for like a side story in amongst all that. And I did feel like I'm glad for whatever it came of it anyway. I'm glad that it was basically just a couple of scenes essentially throughout the whole film. It didn't go into in depth. It didn't detract away from. It didn't deviate. Sorry, with the story going. Obviously, it is something that's based on two events anyway. So it's not. There is obviously. It's not going to just. It's not like Titanic when they've just made the two events the side plot. Whereas obviously with this, it could be the opposite. Yes, Kyle.
You don't have to like acknowledge that I put my hand up. I'll fill in the little gap. Don't worry. Yes, Kyle, you may speak now. I was just going to say, in terms of scenes for me, the one that I always found quite funny with this one, or like strange how they done it, was when Solomon Vandy creeps down in the dark to see his son when he's playing cards at the table, and he's like just standing behind them for fucking ages, it seems, with a table full of people that just don't see him standing there. But then I find it hard to believe that his son wouldn't recognise him and give a reaction to "that's my dad." I know obviously there's the brainwashing side of it and he's been pulled into this, but he's still a young boy, and that reaction I felt should have been a bit more genuine and like, "That's my dad." And Daniel, I see you've got your hand up there, so I'm going to give you now permission to speak as per the rules that Hunter's set.
I was doing it as well, Hunter. But what I was going to say was, I totally agree on that point. So many bits of this feel hyper real and hyper like this is what it would be like, but then they chop and change it too much for it to be believable. Like what happened? The main characters just happened to be immune to everything else. Anyone else, as soon as they walked into that camp, they're shot instantly. But he's able to walk right up to the boy and start like grabbing him, and he's saying for him to go away. And what? They would just kill him, like they've killed everybody else in the fucking film. So the inconsistencies really annoyed me. And I think Burns made a good point that it feels almost like there was too many people involved in the creative direction of this. The director was somebody I'd never heard of before, so this is obviously we're morons for a reason. I've not got a clue who the fuck he is. He might be really famous, but it just felt like he just wanted to deviate down all these paths and didn't know whether he wanted it to be a fictional telling of a tale or a hard-hitting real life. This is what it was like. It deviated too much between it. Like fucking Danny turns into Rambo basically at one point. He goes from being a diamond smuggler to suddenly he turns into fucking John Rambo with a knife and he's hunting down baboons, and it's fucking madness. Like he's
a lot of story about the baboons and stuff as well, and the shit and all that. It's just weird.
There's no consistency in it. It backs up what Sean said about the way the story went, and he didn't seem like a real person by the end. And at first he was great, and it just sort of went into cartoon by the end, I felt. With him jumping out and shooting everyone one-on-one. It was like a big fucking action fest at the end.
The scene where he kills the guy that's a baddie in The Mummy, actually I can't remember his name for this, where he jumps into the bush but jumps out of the complete opposite side and shoots someone. How the fuck that's like a scene for playing like Call of Duty or something. He's had the extra panels on the back and he's out to do a fancy jump.
But that's about the 7th time that they'd got to the point that, our lives are in danger. We're at the very last second where we can survive, and they somehow just get away again. But like Sean said, he just dies on a hill after a really long shite phone call at the end.
Well, that was awful. That, but I forgot. I was going to say like the last 45 minutes an hour I thought was really good, but then that just there was no need for even that to be that long.
What do we think? What do you think?
Sean made a good
I'm
point.
not putting my hand up. I'm just jumping over you.
Sean mentioned about the length of the film as well. This could easily have been like 2 hours max, if no shorter, because there was that much filler and nonsense that was in it. You can speak now, Kyle.
I'm just going to mute myself like they did the last time. I muted when I was talking away. How long do we think the timeline is between Archer meeting Jennifer Connelly's character and I'm dying when he does his phone call to her?
2 weeks.
So, no, well, it's got to be enough time for that guy's eye to have been blasted out of his head and miraculously heal to look like it's got years old scar tissue all over it. And it's got to have also been enough time for his son to have been completely brainwashed to the point that he doesn't even recognise his own father. So that makes me think you're going to tell me something stupid like a week.
I have no idea. I'm just thinking that, like, for me, he's only just met this girl, and then he's obviously fell madly in love with her. That he has to phone. That's his dying phone call as to her.
See, I took it more as because, like Sean said, like there was no hint of the heel turn, the face turn. Sorry, he was just a fucking stone cold heel the whole way through it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He was a dick, an absolute dick, even to the point that he was stealing the diamond when they were at the bottom of the hill. And like at that point, up till then, he was stealing it. So I think he just had. And he's it's like your die in bed thing. I want to be seen. I want to be a good person in my last fucking breath. I don't think he really loved her. I don't think he really cared about Solomon Vandy or his son. He just realised, well, fuck it. I might as well die a good guy.
He still could have made that. I just don't. I don't understand how he all of a sudden just couldn't go up that hill. Like as Vandy said, I can carry you. I'd have been like, well, fucking yes, please get me the fuck out of here.
Oh, like how? Like, obviously, you see when the guy got shot in the van, and he's like, put the pressure on the exit wound. Obviously, he's been shot. How is he not telling like the guy go? Can you not just take his shot and like make a tourniquet wound where he's been shot or something just to try and get him up out there? It just didn't make sense.
Big mercenary days. You can't how to do all that stuff.
I know.
Well, Daniel, to go back to a question you asked earlier about the director, the only other thing he directed just before this was a great movie, The Last Samurai.
Oh, that's kind of the same, a bit long-winded and shit.
Yeah, very similar in the way it's shot as well, actually. Hunter, you had some trivia that you were teasing us with a little bit earlier on.
I did, yes. Are you ready to rip that band-aid off and let me enlighten you this evening?
It better blow my mind.
Right, it's more just a head thinker. So there are a couple of bits first, and then I'll leave you with the creme de la creme of this.
Just want to acknowledge
that. I must add, for this film, there was not a lot. I mean, I don't know if there's any weapons geeks, and there was plenty about what guns and tanks and stuff and helicopters and that were in use, but not a lot of actual trivia on the film itself. So I don't know if we have any military geeks listening and fill your boots. So
one of the guns was an M4.
You Call of Duty gimps will care about that, will you know?
Just depends what the meta was, really.
It was an M4 he had at the end on the hill. Sorry, Hunter.
No, sorry. When Danny Archer arrives in South Africa, there are two women standing in front of him at the airport. Sorry, in front of the airport as he walks by them. These women are actually Leonardo DiCaprio's mother and grandmother.
Wow.
So there was another.
You said that.
Uh-huh.
Do you know the two women I thought that you were talking about? It was the two prostitutes that said, "I'm clean." That was the two folk I instantly thought I was. Can't even
Wait. Just to take a note, Leonardo DiCaprio's grandmother is a prostitute is a name for the podcast.
I never said that.
The heir to the DiCaprio prostitute fortune.
I'm just glad it gets me up.
The mother and grandmother were there.
She must have been young. Maybe she was like him and she would, when they go beyond 25 either.
Is he no actually? He's not going out with somebody that's 26 now.
No, I'm sure the latest news was he dumped her when she turned 26, was it no?
That's
I think he's
right.
got somebody else now. No idea what the lassie's name is. She'll be somebody obviously really famous, and I'm just like, no idea who you are in, but
Just
I'm sure he's got a new one that's 26. Kel can Google it and tell us all about her.
I'm literally typing in Leonardo DiCaprio, and one of the top searches pops up girlfriend timeline.
Every 25th birthday, it just goes dumped.
Oh man.
I'll let you crack on while I do a bit of studying about Leonardo DiCaprio's love life.
Right, so another bit of trivia I've got here is so there was another name that was considered for the role of Danny Archer. Can anyone guess who that was?
Hugh Jackman.
No.
The guy from District 9.
No.
Matt Damon.
No.
Nicolas Cage.
No.
Right, that's it. What is it?
Russell Crowe.
Oh,
Oh,
I wouldn't have got that.
He's shite in everything. I hate Russell Crowe. So fucking overrated. Do you know what's overrated? Gladiator. I hope we get G next so I can fucking shit all over that shit film.
Were you not entertained?
I've tried to watch Gladiator multiple times and never made it to the end yet.
Because you were doing 6 things at once. Like, you've been teaching us about this love triangle fucking story for ages, Hunter. You keep talking about guns and that. What's the love triangle?
Right, so it's not a love triangle. It's just a layer to a Danny Archer that you might not have considered before. So it's been suggested that Archer actually has HIV from the beginning of the movie. So when he has that encounter with his mother and grandmother, they they say to him, "I'm HIV," to which he replies, "I've heard that one before." So and also with Maddie, he does it. Obviously, she looked that bit where she leans in and touches his face. Nothing really else happens. He would just kind of got to imagine, or you're just presuming they've went and made love in the grounds of a school for amputee children. But
that's another name. Made love in the grounds of a school for amputee children.
I was going to use fornicated, but I went for made love instead.
You're
and
going
also,
so well.
when he's dying on the hill, his refusal to let Solomon even touch the wound, and he's bleeding as well. So that might even be the bit hole, maybe why, because obviously he was in the army, he's on the run. Maybe he has contracted HIV. Maybe that's what turns him into the bit of a cunt that he is for 99% of this film.
Oh, he's a cunt, eh?
It is an interesting thought though, because those little things all make sense.
Yeah.
Well, just to close off the loop for Leonardo DiCaprio's love life, he did split from his most recent partner in August. He'd been with her for 5 years, and he started dating her when she was 20. So she's obviously aged out.
Yeah, she's graduating.
She turned 25 in June, and he split up with her in August.
It's funny. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, it's in the news all the time, and he never responds to it. He never stops doing it. He just does whatever the fuck he wants.
It's just a wise movie. So there's no point chilling out in fucking Christmas presents for her if she's got to be away by the June of the next year. So just rip the band-aid off now.
He's still having to pay adult prices for her when they go places, and he's like, fuck that.
Imagine if he must first start dating a lassie, and like the movie going on a date, a couple of dates in, and it's like obviously he's the multi-millionaire movie star. He's maybe bought everything the first couple. So when and then starts coming to for her to put her hand in her pocket to get around, then she's like, "Can you go to the bar for me? I'm only 20."
I'm just clicking back some of his exes. It was like started dating when she was 21. Split up just as she turned 25, and there's like another one that was started dating at 20, split when she was 24. So he's got a timeline that he likes to stick to.
Eventually, he's going to get too old, surely.
Think so?
Well, I suppose I've heard Jack Nicholson was still like this now. Just was for young women all the time, so maybe no.
Fair play, guys. He takes that whole concept of trading them in for a younger model too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to the days where Leonardo DiCaprio is bald, like balding, fat. Do you know what I mean? You get to see him get old, and I bet he's still fucking handsome when he's 80. Fuck it, he's just got the gift.
He's still going to be a 21-year-old.
He's still got about 1-year-old.
Well, guys, listen, that's I think we've pretty much wrapped up all our thoughts on Blood Diamond, and I think we should score it as we normally do. We'll shoot across to Sean first of all. It was his movie, so it's only right that he goes first.
I'm going to give it a 3.
We sit on the fence 3. Daniel?
I'll sit on the fence.
I'm going to sit slightly more to the other side of the fence. I'm giving it a 2.25.
2.25. Hunter?
I'm going to go for a 3 as well.
3. Burnsy?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.
Oh, I didn't think that I'd be the highest scorer here, but I do still enjoy this movie, so a 3.5 for myself. Now, we don't have a leaderboard as of yet with this, so this is both going to be first and last on the new leaderboard for B. So let's set the scene, Burnsy. What's the overall score for this one?
2.75.
2.75. And do you know what? If I was really prepared, I could have gave you a comparison to previous lists that we had, but I couldn't be asked looking through all of that. But that does bring us to the end, guys. Is there anything else you want to share, add? This is going to be our shortest podcast ever done, so last opportunity to talk shit.
Nah, I've got a topic for next week that I want to discuss.
Oh, I need to wait a week to find. Oh, can you tell us what it is? I'm not waiting a week.
That was a wee preview.
I want us next week to discuss how Kyle and Kanye West have now got similar views on Hitler.
I might phone in sick for next week's episode, guys. But that is all for tonight. As morons do bid you farewell.
Oh,
Bye.
Kyle and Hitler.
Listen, you'd have a pint with Hitler, like definitely would have a pint with him.
You, Kanye, and fucking Hitler having a pint each.
And I'm still the biggest weirdo at the three of us.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.